Warframe is a game that I picked up really easily by looking at the Steam store on the top sellers list, and I saw just about 4 or 5 on the list. Clicked on it and I saw that the reviews were very positive. So it was an easy download for me after seeing that it was free to play. Downloaded the game, jumped into it, immediately had fun. Couldn't believe that it was a free game. Incredible. I played about 15 to 20 hours before I wanted to make my first video on it. Made it up to second dream until I started streaming the game. I received an absolutely overwhelming praise and support from the community. It was almost unbelievable. I was going to make a video on the community itself and how non-toxic it was and how helpful they were. But with all these things to really kickstart my journey on Warframe, there are a few things that I've noticed. As of right now, I've got about 100 hours of in-game time, and 100 hours, no matter what a veteran tells me that, hey, you need to put in 1,000 hours into the game and you're no longer a newbie. 100 hours into a video game is a lot. In perspective, I have about 125 hours in Elden Ring. I've beaten it 5 times in the DLC twice. Full playthroughs, recording videos and everything. So that's a lot of hours. And from a new player with haven't looked at any guides on any builds or anything like that, I've just kind of been taking in some insight from the chat. And the chat on my live streams and in the comments of my videos. Give me simple, helpful tips like, hey, your starter platinum, go ahead and buy a weapon slot and a Warframe slot. Okay, super easy. Do that. Super easy, quick tip. Nothing game breaking. No spoilers with any of the lore. So I have a different perspective, an outside perspective, if you will, from someone that's been invested into the game for many, many years. Now, for starters, I want to go ahead and put a disclaimer out there. I'm just going to be very blunt and very straightforward and honest about it. I'm not trying to blast it in extreme negativity or something extreme positivity to get views or to sway an audience one way or another. I'm just going to be completely honest and transparent about what I think about the game. The starter missions in the star chart are very, very boring. They did not age well, and from what I've gathered from the audience that I've garnered on my live streams, these are very old quests that they haven't updated, and they did not age well whatsoever. I'll give you an example. There's a mission where you have to basically destroy these space herpes on the ship, and you have to do it 3 different times, and it takes forever. And I asked the chat, and I was saying, you know, what's the point of this? They say it's to introduce a new mechanic into the game. Well, the only problem with that is I've already done a mission that I did that in, and I figured it out on the fly. I didn't really need my hand held through something like that. So this entire mission I'm doing on this specific planet on the star chart is very redundant. It's boring. I already know what to do. I don't need another explanation. So to put it in layman's terms, the star chart is very boring because it's just the same things over and over again. The only cool thing about it is that the scenery is different. The scenery, I'll go ahead and say, is beautiful, but because the gameplay is so fast paced, you don't really get to stop and sit and enjoy it. I know that there's bosses on these specific planets. Bosses are really easy, and I'm not always looking for a hard, challenging game every time I download a game. I'm just giving my perspective. Since the game is so big and it's so wide open, okay, what's the point of the game? You'll get 10 different answers from 10 different people of what the point of the game is. But all in all, they will tell you that just play at your own pace, do what you want, and have fun. There's really no difficulty in the game. People have told me that wait until you get to Steel Path, wait until you get to Steel Path. Steel Path doesn't open up until you complete the entire star chart and some close to the end of the game quests. That is a lot. I understand what the veterans are saying about, hey, just wait, just stick it out. You know, this is fun. Just stick it out. This is fun. Just stick it out. You got a big quest coming up. Just stick it out. It really shouldn't be up to the community to try to persuade a new player to continue the game to finally get some good content. And let me tell you, when the content's good, it's real good. I've had a couple of quests that I've rated a 10 out of 10, wouldn't change a thing. Very impressive. And part of the reason why I rated a 10 out of 10 because everything was great. The visuals were great. The story was great. The gameplay was great, right? There was a little bit of action. Loved it. Good stuff. Which brings me to my next point that I want to talk about that I think is a huge issue, is the lore of the game. And I'm going to be very transparent and honest here. I've played a diverse selection of video games, and Warframe has one of the best lores. One of the best lores of any video game I played. It's up there with Elden Ring. It's up there with Legacy of Kain series. It's up there, which is saying a lot for me, because it's hard for me to really follow along with a story because it's just very cliche and whatnot. But Warframe really hits the nail on the head. I like it. I like it a lot. And it's one of the main things that I enjoy playing in this game. There's two things that I love. I love doing the mastery ranks, and I love doing it handicapped. I don't want the easiest way. I'm not practicing whatsoever. I'm jumping right into it. I want a challenge, and that's where I challenge myself. And another thing is the quests. Love doing the quests. That's my favorite thing to do in the game. And I love doing them because I want to be captivated by the story. I want to explore the story and see what else it has to offer. Now, the negative to that is Warframe has one of the best stories, one of the best, but it has the worst delivery of the story of any video game I've ever played.
Get out of there, Tenno.
What the fuck is going on?
Be careful.
To keep it straightforward, most of the story, so far from what I've gathered, is given to you through radio transmissions, and not while you're idle. It's while you're actively going through a mission. You're learning a new mechanic. You're getting bombarded by enemies. You're spamming abilities, and all this noise and racket and the music and everything. It's almost like everything is flooded onto one channel. So it's impossible to follow along with the story. And I know people have said, yeah, you don't really get the story. You have to look up lore videos. I don't want to look up lore videos. I want to get the lore from the game. That's the point of it. That's the entire point. You're supposed to get the lore, digest the lore from the game. So my viewpoint on this isn't completely accurate because veteran players, have had time to take in the lore, digest it, and then at the end of the quest, it's usually a cliffhanger into, oh, what can be next? And that's completely fair for them to have their own opinions in that matter. But as a new player, I don't have those long 2-year breaks, 3-month breaks, whatever the break it was. I'm jumping from one quest to another, and people can point the finger and say, well, that's your own fault. You should take some time. You're probably right. But I enjoy the game so much that I don't want to. And because of that, I'm not understanding the lore. I've also been told by veteran players that they've had limited time quests or missions in between the main story lore quests to give you a little bit more of what's to come. And those are no longer available, so I missed out on that. Another thing I missed out on is really enjoying the Deviri paradox. I think it's what it's called. That's the first thing I did when I picked up the game because it was available to me. It basically said you can take this path or this path, and I just happened to pick this path, the Deviri paradox.
It never happened, but
I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going where it tells me to go. I just finished the new war in my playthrough of the game so far, and man, it would be great to have played the Deviri paradox after the new war. A lot of things would have made sense, but because I played it as the first thing I've ever done in the game, it really shit on that experience, to put it bluntly. And unfortunately, as of right now, you cannot replay the Deviri paradox, so I'm kind of stuck with that. The last thing I want to talk about really is the direction of the game. It's kind of, if you're looking at a tree and every single leaf on the tree is something to do, that's basically Warframe for you. There's really no clear direction on what to do. I know when you click on a planet on the star chart, it kind of gives you whatever's flashing. You can kind of do that until you get to the junction. It's still not really clear because between the star chart and the junctions and the missions on the star chart, and then you got the quests when you look at your codex, which is already pretty confusing. They don't really line up, and they don't really complement each other. It's kind of, you can do this, you can grind this, but if you do this, you'll probably be redoing some of this, and it doesn't flow well whatsoever, and it's really confusing to the next player. So instead of having just everything out there, just, all right, pick it, it's a big game, go ahead and enjoy it, why not give more of a clear path? And then also, while giving a clear path, give some relevance to the clear path so that players understand why they're doing something. When you're jumping into a mission to kill 130 enemies and then extract, there's really no relevance to that. And you're doing that 18, 30 times on the star chart. I don't know, I'm throwing out some numbers here. It's redundant. It's really easy to get boring and turn the player off. Now, I don't want to sit here and just bash the game because honestly, Warframe is the best free-to-play game that I've ever played. I've ever seen, really. I think it's incredible. But there are some vital things that I think that they could fix for new players coming into the game. It's incredible. Warframe, I've never seen a game that just constantly is just getting fed new players all the time. And it's throughout the years, it's just been constantly rising up to the top and then staying stagnant up at the top, which is incredible. People, content creators, and people in my chat have been saying that Warframe is just a game that's slept on. I agree. But I think some of the key reasons why it's slept on is because, one, it's a great game, but it's a great game you really got to sit through. You really got to be patient. You really got to give it some time. You just got to work with it because eventually it's going to be great. Warframe's like a dog that will be good eventually, but it's not good right now. Just work with it. Train it more. Be patient with it. It's like the story. Incredible story, but really, really bad delivery. I really hope that they end up fixing some of these things because I don't want to see what I've gone through. And trust me, I've been a real trooper. I've almost fallen asleep on stream already just doing the star chart out of just absolute pure boredom. And then also, I almost had to take a break from doing some of the older quests because there was just nothing but older quests available to me at that time. And I was just so overwhelmingly bored. I think these are things that they could fix. I really hope it does, or hope they do, because seems like they're a great company, great developers, great game. I really hope that they fix some of these issues that is in the game. I hope this video wasn't too negative. I don't want to bash the game too much. I just want to deliver some honest feedback from a new player. I've played less than a month now, about 100 hours. So I think some of the things that I have to say could be relevant to some feedback from new players. Microtransactions, not a big deal. They kind of tuck it away. They put it in the pocket. And if you want it, it's there. No big deal. Love it. It's great. The only thing that I wish that they would do is maybe instead of making you choose one Warframe at the start, just give you all 3 starters. Why not? Give you all 3 starters, maybe an extra Warframe slot. No big deal. I think that's an easy fix. I think that'd be a great fix to give people some variety as soon as they start out the game instead of trying to search for how to get new Warframes. That's just what I've seen, trying to gather as much content and information from the game itself rather than outside sources. And because I'm sure there's some great YouTube guides out there that explains everything, but I don't want that. I want the game to tell me. I've been playing games without a guide for a little bit now, and that's how I really enjoy gaming, and I'm going to keep it that way. So I really hope maybe somebody sees this and they can take it into consideration. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about my opinion and my perspective. I would love to know your perspective as well. When you started the game, how was it? What are some of the things that they fixed that they needed to fix? Yeah, I'd love to know. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.